Hello and welcome to Big Friendly Grub. I hope you are doing well. Now if you've been watching the last few weeks, or last couple of weeks rather, then you will probably realise I've been doing a bit of a... It's a car going by very loudly and very fast, apologies for that. But if you have been watching the last couple of weeks, then... Sorry about that, I've got my windows open because it's very warm today, and usually I live on a fairly quiet road, but apparently everyone's come out to play today. Just like that guy. Now if you have been watching the last couple of weeks, you know I've been doing this picnic playlist, and now if you have been watching the last couple of weeks, you'll know I've been doing a bit of a mini picnic playlist because the weather's particularly nice here in the UK at the moment. It's our summertime. Now usually our summertime usually consists of having a couple of days where it's not raining, but we've been consistently lucky this time, and so that's why I've been doing this picnic playlist. We really enjoy a good picnic here in the UK. We enjoy taking our food out and enjoying it on the beach or in the field. Basically communing with nature, which usually means getting like attacked by wasps and things. Hate wasps. They're stripy little Now the last couple of recipes I've shown you how to make in this little playlist of ours have been sausage rolls and have been Scotch eggs, and if that appeals to you I suggest going to watch those videos, but not right now because I have something else to show you. Now those last two recipes, while they are super delicious and they are a lot of fun to make, they are not suitable for vegetarians and vegans. And not wanting to leave you guys out, I wanted to do a recipe this week which is great for you guys and also food that's great for taking on picnics. So I hope you will find today's recipe very falafel filling. So yes, as you guessed by my terrible play on words, I'm going to be making falafel today. Now if you don't know what falafel are, they are basically a Middle Eastern recipe which is consisting of chickpeas and herbs and all sorts of lovely spices made into like a ball, kind of like a fritter or something like that. They're fried and they are absolutely delicious. Everyone's come out to play today. But I don't want to just show you how to make the falafel by themselves because they are great with other things. They're great going into pita breads with lovely salads or something like that with a bit of yogurt. But today I'm going to show you how to make homemade hummus as well, because I find falafel goes really well with hummus, probably because they're both made from chickpeas. If you've never had hummus before, it's basically like a dip made from chickpeas and tahini, which is blitzed up sesame seeds, and they just go really, really well together. Now enough of my preamble. We've got quite a few ingredients here. I'm not going to go through them all because I don't want to waste time. So let's just get started. Now if you follow me, sorry, close up on my face there properly. So you will see I've already got a can of chickpeas here. They've been washed, I have washed away all the brine, and they've been sat here for probably about a good 10 minutes actually drying off. You could potentially use dried chickpeas, leave them soaking overnight, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with canned chickpeas. These will work perfectly and save you a lot of effort. Sorry, I should have mentioned, we're actually going to be making our hummus first, although this exact same step will be used for falafel as well. So we will be taking a can of chickpeas and just drying them off for about 10 minutes or so, making sure they're completely rinsed. But it doesn't really matter, like I said, exact same step for the hummus and the falafel. Now, I think traditionally using dried chickpeas for falafel is generally more accepted, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with canned chickpeas, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. Well, not fight, just generally disagree with. Now for these recipes we're going to be using one of these a lot. This is my food processor. It's quite a heavy duty one, but if you don't have a heavy duty one, that's fine. As long as you've got some sort of food processor or some sort of like chopper, as long as you've got something that can really chop very, very finely, then you will be absolutely fine. But you will need some sort of food processor or something to help you finely chop stuff, because really good knife skills won't come in handy here, I'm afraid. So I'm just going to start off by popping in the chickpeas right into here. You will be able to find all the ingredients and the actual recipe on my website down below in the YouTube description. So check that out if you want all those ingredients. So now I'm just going to pop on our lid, put the power on, and I'm just going to start off by pulsing these up. I'm not going to do them too fine to start off with. So that's got our chickpeas started off. So now I'm going to add in 150 milliliters of tahini. This is basically our blitzed up sesame seeds. Then I'm going to add in the zest and juice of a lemon. You might not have seen that, but I had that in this handy dandy thing. In fact, I'm just going to pull out a bit so you can see a bit better. Then I'm adding in a lot of garlic. I've got pretty much a whole bulb here because I really like a lot of garlic in my hummus. You can obviously edit this to your discretion, to your own tastes, but I like a really good amount of garlic in mine, and I'm not planning on seeing anyone this weekend, so it's absolutely fine if I smell. So pop those in, and then Lastly, I'm adding in about 8 tablespoons, which sounds like a lot, but I'm adding in 8 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. So I'm going to eyeball that. So 1, 2, 3. So I'd say that's about right. And then I'm going to pop on our lid again, close her up, and I'm just going to blitz this all up until it's absolutely turned into a lovely paste, puree, whatever you want to call it. So there we go, that didn't have very long at all. That probably had about a minute and a half or so. I have got a very powerful food processor though, so it may vary for you, but you can see that is absolutely lovely and smooth. I'm going to get this into a bowl so you can actually see how it looks properly. So there's our hummus, bubble and squeak here. I've been keeping an eye on it for me. For me, that's pretty much perfect. It's got the right consistency for me. It's got a super kick of garlic. I've really tasted it because I was tasting it as I go along. One thing I did do is I added a little pinch of salt into it just because I hadn't done that on camera. So added a little bit of salt in there, but otherwise, using all those ingredients I told you, they taste absolutely great. I'm going to taste it again in a little bit here. Oh, that tastes fantastic for me. Super hit of garlic because of all that garlic we put in it. It's so garlicky, it's almost got a bit of heat to it because of the raw garlic. If you don't like it that garlicky, don't make it that garlicky, that's fine, just cut it in half. But it does need that garlic in there. That's our hummus done. That is it, that is all we have to do. It's so simple, it really is. Now I'm going to pop this in the fridge while we get on with making our falafel. Good guinea pigs. Here's a treat. They like it spicy. For our falafel, we are back to our food processor, and I've got my quadruple bladed monstrosity in here. And as before, I'm popping in our chickpeas and throwing them all on the floor in the process as well. Hooray for me. Doesn't matter though, they are 99% in. I think one went on the floor. I'm going to pop those in and pop on our lid, wherever that is. So I'm roughly going to blitz these up. I'm just going to pulse them. I don't want them overly fine. That looks pretty good to me because we're going to want to be able to mould all of this into balls. So we don't want it too fine, we don't want it to fall apart, we want it to be able to stick together. So that looks good to me. I'm going to get this into a bowl. I'm going to turn that off because I need my fingers, not only for this, I'm a web developer by trade. Look at that, you could have someone's hand off with that. That's ridiculous. So there's our blitzed up chickpeas. I've transferred it to a bowl. You can see it's all fairly fine, but not ridiculously fine. But it's also enough so you can bind it together like that because we're going to be doing that once we've got the rest of our ingredients in. So that's about right for me. So what we can do now is get our chickpea everywhere. So what we can do now, other than throw chickpea everywhere, is get everything else blitzed up to go into this. So I've already roughly chopped some garlic. No, that's onion, not garlic. So roughly chopped onion, not garlic, that's garlic. Some more garlic cloves, I've got 4 here, yep, 4 garlic cloves. And I've also roughly chopped a chilli because I like a little bit of heat to my falafel. If you don't want it, don't chop up a chilli, don't put it in. So I'm just popping in our onion, our garlic and our chilies into our food processor, he says, as he throws it everywhere else.
And that's not all.
Because I'm also chucking in a nice bunch of coriander. I've just got to tear it off and throw it in there. Absolutely no precision today. And I'm also going to do the same with parsley, flat leaf parsley here. I'm just going to tear off a chunk and throw that in as well. Adding in those herbs is going to give us some really nice freshness, so I would really recommend adding those in. If you don't like them, you might have to experiment with the herbs, but these I find are ideal for this recipe. I actually started that off without saying anything, but I am actually going to blitz these up so they're quite fine, really quite liquidy almost. So that looks good to me, that is all blitzed up. So I'm going to take this off and I can show you the consistency we're looking for. Off with the power again. So here is our combined onion, parsley, chilies, garlic. So you can see it's coming to like quite a wet mixture, which is good, but there's still like chunks of garlic and chili and all sorts in there. So that's really good. So I'm going to take our chickpeas and I'm just going to pop all of this into here. There's some amazing smells coming from this. That's all the chopping we'll be doing with our food processor today, so I'll pop that to one side and we can now get on with putting in the rest of our ingredients and constructing our falafel. So what I'm going to do is I've got some gram flour here. If you don't know what this is chickpea flour. So we're sticking with the chickpea here and I'm adding about 4 tablespoons of this in. That was quite a heaped tablespoon, so that probably counts as 2. I'm getting this everywhere. Apologies for the mess. Let's call that 3 and let's call that 4. Then on top of that, I'm going to add in a pinch of sea salt. I'm going to add in some pepper. I'm going to add in white pepper here just to mix it up. I do have black pepper, but I really like white pepper as well. And I've got some ground cumin here. I'm going to probably add in about half a teaspoon of that. Then lastly, I'm going to add in the zest of a lemon. This will add a bit more freshness into our falafel, not that we haven't got it already, because we've got our lovely parsley and coriander in there. So I'm going to get in there with my hands and start to combine this all together. It's going to be quite messy to start off with, but hopefully as it comes together it should get a bit easier to handle. If not, this is where you add in a bit more flour, a bit more of our chickpea flour. So you can see that's come together quite well. It comes together and keeps its shape. If I push it over here, it keeps its shape. If I push it over here, it keeps its shape. If I push it around anywhere, it keeps its shape. So that's nice and moldable. So that'll be great for molding into our falafel shape. Now, before I put this to one side and tidy up a little bit, I've also got some baking powder here, but this will be literally going in last minute. I will combine this in just before they get fried, because this is to just help them puff up a little bit, become a little bit lighter, almost fluffy inside. But you don't want this until the last minute. So if you're like waiting half an hour after making this, don't put it in straight away, just wait a little bit. So I've just got my oil heating up off camera. So I am now bringing together the falafel into the balls. I've already started off this process. I wanted to do a test one and that looks quite good. So what I'm doing is just getting a ice cream scoop, getting about an ice cream scoop's worth, popping it into my hand and just rolling it around like so, just shaping it, not squeezing it too much. If you find this gets too messy, keep some of the chickpea flour aside so you can coat your hands in it. At the moment I'm just being quite quick with this, shaping it into balls so my hands don't get too sticky. See, again, looking pretty good. So I'm going to pop these to one side and get on with the rest of these because you don't need to see me make all of them. And I should probably mention, yes, I did add in the baking powder that I mentioned earlier. I didn't forget that step. So for frying our falafel, I've got a pan of sunflower oil over a medium-high heat here, and I've got it up to about 170 degrees. That's 170 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit. That wouldn't be very hot at all. And much like last week for our Scotch eggs, I've probably got about 5 to 6 centimeters of oil here, which is a fair amount. But usually you'll probably find that these are usually deep fried in a lot more oil, but I didn't want to use that much. So I've got that up to 170 degrees. But if you don't have a thermometer like I had there, pop in a little bit of your mixture. So if it starts to fizzle up and cook straight away like that, then you're good to go. So I'm carefully going to lower our falafel into the oil. Be very, very careful when you do this. I managed to get about 9 falafel out of that mixture, which kind of upset me. I usually like to try and get even numbers. Actually, I think I can get 5 in here. So in goes 5 of those. So we're going to want to keep a close eye on these. We don't want to cook them for too long. I think about 5 or 6 minutes will probably be about right. We're going to want to be a nice golden brown. So if they start to look too dark, then you're definitely going to have to whip them out. In fact, you can see these are starting to already cook, and it's barely been a minute. So I'm going to turn these over already. They might only need like 3 to 4 minutes. It took me ages to realise that falafel were actually fried in oil. I always thought they were baked for some reason, but since I've been making these I can see why they're fried in oil. Baking would probably just cause them to fall apart and be quite dry. Oh, there's some amazing smells coming from here. So these are looking really nice and brown already, and they've only probably had about 4 minutes. So I'm going to get these onto some paper towel to let them dry off. So I'm going to get the rest of these into the oil and then we can check them out. I can't wait for this. So I finished up frying our falafel and they look amazing. They smell amazing. They're so crisp on the outside. I can't wait to get stuck into these, but I am going to just leave them to cool off for probably about 5 minutes or so before I try and get into one. I can't wait too much longer. They smell incredible. I'm so happy with those. They look so good. Oh, I can't wait for these. So there are our falafel and our homemade hummus. And that looks pretty darn good if you ask me. I might be biased because I made them, but to be honest, I am my own worst critic and they look pretty good. I put in a bit of parsley because I was taking some photos for the gram. These haven't had that long to cool down, probably only about 5 minutes or so, but I can't wait any longer. I want to get stuck into one of these. I'm picking this bad boy up off here and I'm just going to, well, you can hear that, how crisp that is, and look how fluffy that is in the middle. Vibrant green. Oh, amazing. Well, I can't wait to set this up for another shot. I'm just going to go right in. Oh, that is lovely. Oh. We're up for our usual tasting angle. I couldn't wait that time. We've still got our hummus right here to try as well. So I'm going to take my falafel here, the unfinished one, and I'm just going to dip that in here. So I've got some of the hummus on my falafel as well. Oh. That is so good. With the falafel, you get the lovely crispiness of where it's been fried, then you get the freshness of the herbs, a bit of the lemon, and then the heat from the chili comes through. I mean, if you enjoy heat like that, highly recommend adding it because it just really gives it that extra lift afterwards. And the hummus, you got that garlicky flavour. It's just so nice. If you didn't have the falafel, you could just enjoy the hummus with some pita bread and stuff like that. It's really, really good. It's an accompaniment to the falafel. The falafel will start the show, but that hummus is worth doing any day of the week as well. I'm not usually one to toot my own horn about this sort of stuff, but I mean, those are really good. Probably the best falafel I've ever made, and I highly recommend you give them a go. They are a little bit fiddly from all the food processing and stuff like that, but man, are they worth it. They are so, so worth it. And if you add these to your picnic, any vegetarians or vegans or anyone will be so grateful because these are delicious. These will be perfect for any picnic, absolutely. Now, as much as I usually like standing around chatting here to you guys, I've got a plate of falafel here that is just begging to be eaten. So I'm going to go off, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to enjoy these, and I'm not even going to be sorry about it. But that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Big Friendly Grub. I know I did. So I will see you on the next Big Friendly Grub. Bye.